Hannah Murray on TRE in the afternoon.
Joining us on the line now is Tim Bird. He's a writer and an award-winning photographer with dual British and Finnish citizenship. His book, Happy Land, Finding My Inner Finn, talks about his 40 years in the world's happiest country. Welcome to the show, Tim.
Oh, hi. Thanks very much.
It's great to have you with us. So what took you to Finland?
Okay, yeah, the big question. So I came here in 1982 thinking I would only be here for like 1 or 2 years. And I came here as an English teacher. And that was because I wanted to make my life interesting somehow. I was a young man. I wasn't doing anything in particular. I got a degree from university. And I thought it was about time I kind of, did something with it and did something interesting. So I got a job as an English teacher in Finland. I didn't know anything about Finland. I had a girlfriend in Sweden, and the idea was that I would hook up with her after a year or two. She ditched me fairly quickly, so I ended up living in Finland on my own and started enjoying my life in Finland. And I came here without knowing anything about it. It was a completely fresh start. And I just kind of got stuck here doing interesting stuff and having an interesting life. So that's the short story. That's the short version of the story anyway.
Yeah. So what made you stay? What is it that you loved about the country and its people that made you not want to leave?
Well, largely because I started doing the kind of work I wanted to do. I came as an English teacher, but I always I had already been doing some freelance journalism in England. I was living in Bristol when I moved here. And I worked for what was their version of Time Out. Well, I did a couple of articles for it. It was called Out West, and I did some material for that. Anyway, I wanted to do something creative, writing, and the photography came later. The photography was a hobby at first, and then I found out that I could accompany my mainly travel articles with my travel photography. And so that was one big reason for staying. I just kind of that was probably one of the biggest reasons, really. I started doing interesting things.
Yeah.
I had a lot of opportunities to travel. I was working for a long time for the Finnair in-flight magazine, and that gave me opportunities to travel a lot from Finland at very interesting times as well, because Finland was changing. The Baltic area was changing, with the Soviet Union was collapsing at the time. And so, and then, of course, I got married once, got married twice, and twice is enough. So,
yeah, fair enough.
I've got a family here as well now, so there are good reasons to stay here too. Yeah. And it's been good to me. Finland has been good to me. So, yeah.
And the fact that it's been voted the world's happiest country is it 4 years in a row, or is it more than that?
Oh, no, 8.
8? Oh, my
8
goodness.
Years. Yeah.
Wow.
We're wondering if we'll actually make it to 9 or not. The report is published by the United Nations in, I think, March or late February. And it remains to be seen whether we've done it the 9th time in a row or not. But the book, the title of the book is still quite relevant, because Finland does kind of have this reputation for being a very kind of stable and happy is the word that's used. I think Finns would use other words such as satisfaction and contentment, and maybe the word happy is sometimes misleading. But anyway, I wanted to take a look at that in the book that I was writing, but also to kind of talk about my experiences of living in Finland. But that kind of running thread through it is Finland. I'm not being cynical about it, but I'm also taking a kind of, I like to say, a sideways look at whether Finland really is, and to what extent you can argue that it is. the happiest country in the world.
Yeah. I mean, for someone who lives there and is obviously happy living there, I'm interested to know what you and other people who you know and friends with and family, how people feel who live in Finland about it constantly being called the happiest country in the world. Does everybody say to each other, yeah, they're absolutely right, of course we are, we've done it again, why wouldn't we, we're all really happy? Or, sometimes these surveys come out and people go, what, where have they got that from? That's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, what do people who live in Finland think about that?
Well, I think the reaction is there's a kind of range of reactions. A lot of Finns would they'd happily accept the description because it means that the focus is on Finland and the center of attention. But like I say, I think a lot of Finns they're very patriotic. They're very proud of their country in many ways. It's not paradise. The book is a kind of I hope a balanced view of the country. It's not all milk and honey, but there are a lot of good things going for it. So I think that people, there's a certain, some Finns accept it and think, we're lucky to live here. Other Finns might be a little bit more skeptical about it. Other Finns would reject it completely, of course. They wouldn't think it's true. And they'd pick up on the more negative aspects to make their argument.
So what are some of the reasons as to why it would be voted or has been voted consistently the world's happiest country then? What are some of the things that you and Finns would agree with?
Well, there's more of a kind of, it's a smaller population than the UK or you're in Spain, I think, aren't you?
Yes.
The population is 5.7 million. That's not a big population. It's a big country. But there's a kind of sense of community about the country, perhaps, because of that small population. Mm-hmm. That's not to say that everybody knows everybody, although you do bump into people abroad who know people you know. It's a kind of small world thing like that. Where were we?
So you're saying it's a small country and a lot of people know each other.
So there is there's a kind of acceptance of, for example, I always use this example, but it's one that just comes on the top of my head. People pay taxes here in a way that, maybe in the UK that people are very kind of cynical about paying taxes and don't want to pay so much tax. Here, people pay taxes. Nobody likes paying it, but there's a kind of recognition that you're getting some value in return. That's one thing. The standard of living is pretty high. I mean, there are the kind of the Nordic social model is kind of fraying at the edges a bit in as much as, we pay a little bit for our healthcare, whereas before it was free. There are different kind of aspects of education. Education is still very good here, but we used to top the charts with that a few years ago. Still very good, though. I mean, compared, internationally. So that would be that would be one thing. The level of education is very good. There's a kind of when Finland is aware of what's going on over the border with Russia, which is, Finland has traditionally always been very wary of Russia and has a long history, which that would take another talk to tell you all about that. But we have a long border with Russia, and the feeling is, for example, when Finland joined NATO, there was very little argument about that. There was an acceptance that this was probably a wise thing to do at the time, whereas before, a lot of people were against it. But as soon as Russia invaded Ukraine, then, there's more of a kind of cohesion as a nation, I think. That's one thing that maybe the report recognizes. But the standard of living is generally very good. That's not to say there aren't people who, struggle a bit, but there's a different level of a different range of wealth and down to poverty than there might be in the UK. I use the UK as an example because I think most of your listeners are British. Is that right?
Yes, probably so. Yes.
With
regards to money, I think Finland and Scandinavia in general is seen to be very expensive. To go there on holiday, buying food and drink and hotels and things like that is very expensive. But the wages are much higher, aren't they? So for people living there, I guess maybe you don't see that as much as tourists might do.
Yeah, I mean, it's somehow I don't feel it's. I mean, if I go to London now and spend time there, that's expensive there.
Yeah.
So I think the gap has closed a bit, to be honest.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's not a cheap country either, of course. But there is there are shops with bargains, and you don't have to go to the most expensive ones. So there are, if you are on a budget, there are ways around it. Okay. But yeah, I mean, there's no denying it is a more expensive country. But I mean, there's things to pay for, such as, again, it's the question of taxation. We've had a very heavy snowfall and very cold nights recently. And the infrastructure has to keep running, so that has to be paid for somehow. But there's an acceptance that if you've got to pay for it somehow. So yeah, I mean, the trains keep running, the buses keep running, the roads are cleared when it's after heavy snow. So the infrastructure is geared for it.
Yeah, and weather's an interesting one, because I suppose two of the biggest pluses, I guess, for living in somewhere like Spain is the weather and the lifestyle, the kind of outdoor lifestyle that goes with having nice weather. And I guess you couldn't necessarily say the same about Finland. I mean, it's a much colder country in general, isn't it?
No, well, I would usually, if I had to choose negative aspects of living here, I would always talk about the climate. But again, there are extremes. So at the moment, we're in the depths of winter, very short days. In the summers, it's a bit. The nation is a little bit schizophrenic, because like seasonal schizophrenia. So in the summer, it's quite a different country. It's wonderful. The summers are great because they're so light. We usually get a fair amount of decent weather. It's not hot like it would be in Spain, but it's kind of pleasant. In the mid-20s, it's not unusual at all on a summer's day. Nice. So that's our kind of reward for surviving the winter.
Yes, it must be strange having such disparity, that seeing the huge differences between summer and winter. Some people really appreciate, even in the UK, some people really appreciate the different seasons and embrace them for what they are. Is it a bit like that in Finland then?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a kind of dreary period. Okay, one thing to explain is that Finland is a very long country, so it's like 1,300 kilometers or something from one end to the other as the crow flies. So the climate is actually, it varies quite a lot from north to south. I'm in Helsinki, which is right on the southern tip in the Baltic. And here, the winters take a little bit longer to come. So we have this dreary, rainy period in November leading up to Christmas. And then now the snow has arrived, it kind of energizes people a bit, because there's a reflected light and it just looks nicer, Yeah. So the time I would never recommend people to come here for leisure purpose anyway, that would be kind of November leading up to mid-December, because then the nights are drawing in, or the days are drawing in, and the nights are getting longer. But like I say, you are very much aware of the seasons, and the autumn can be very pleasant. I go up to Lapland for a hiking trip most autumns. Oh, lovely! And, it is very nice there because of the autumn colours up on the fells, and there are contrasts. Yeah.
Yeah, and have you seen the Northern Lights?
Well, that's one of my little obsessions, yes.
Oh, really? So you've seen them multiple times?
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
I mean, in Helsinki, you're lucky to see them because there's quite a lot of light pollution around I live on the edge of the city, and I've got a better chance here than people in the centre of the city. But if you go up to Lapland, you don't have to go too much further north from Helsinki to be able to see them. But in Lapland, right up in the far north, then they're probably seeing them now. Well, maybe not, it's a little bit early, but they've been having some very good displays lately up there. So yeah, but I've got it's a fantastic thing to see. It's like and it's quite addictive. Once you've seen it, you really want to see it again.
Oh, I bet.
I write about that in my book, so.
Lovely. Yeah. And with regards to language, I think I'm right in saying that Sweden and Norwegian and even Danish are quite similar, whereas Finnish is really quite different, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah. It's a member of as you said, those languages are quite similar. And in fact, they could, a Swede could talk to a Dane in Swedish, and the Dane would probably understand most of what the Swede was saying. In Finland, no, the language belongs to the Finno-Ugric group of languages, and Estonian is the closest language to Finnish. And Hungarian is also a member of that group of languages, but you wouldn't guess it from looking at them. But yeah, no, Finnish is, that's one of the tricky things about living here is, although people speak very good English, so yeah, it's easy to be lazy if you're an English speaker.
And have you learnt a bit of Finnish?
Well, yeah, after 40 years, yeah.
Well done, you.
Yeah, I get by, yeah.
Great. Yeah. Well, if people want to get a copy of Happy Land, it's out now. It's available on our website, TRE.radio, and it's by Tim Bird, who we've been chatting with.
Okay, can I add something quickly?
Sure.
So I don't know if any of your listeners are visiting the UK in the coming weeks, but I'm doing a talk at Stanford's Bookshop in Covent Garden in London on the Tuesday the 22nd. So there are tickets available that if you look at the Stanford's website, that's Stanford's Bookshop. I just wanted to mention that in case anybody is in town and got nothing. I mean, in London, what else is there to do? I mean,
well, quite. Brilliant. Thanks so much, Tim. Lovely to chat with you.
Yeah, you too. And thanks very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.